All right.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Curtain Call Podcast. I am your host, the Spanish Fly, and always with me, my tag team partner, Nacho. Nacho, tell them what's up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Hope you liked the last one. I know there were some audio issues, but we are working to get those fixed. Hopefully, they're better for you now, and I'm excited to talk some wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today is March 5th, 2024, that we're doing this podcast, a Monday Night Raw and AEW Revolution 2024 recap of what happened this past weekend at AEW's pay-per-view event. Monday Night Raw was last night. Tonight is NXT Roadblock, which we will be doing a recap of Roadblock. But like always, I want to be able to start off with this day in wrestling history. Nacho, we're not going to go too far back. We're not going too far back with this one. It might be something that you might have watched, but it happened back in 2017 in WWE. It was a pay-per-view, and it was Fast Lane. Do you know what it could be?
Not sure. I know we had some pretty big fast lanes recently, but I think my majority of my knowledge comes from after the 2020s.
Okay, so this particular fast lane in 2017, when the match was over, there were a lot of people very, very, very unhappy with the outcome. Why? Because the main event was your Universal Champion, KO Kevin Owens, versus Goldberg. And Goldberg came in, and Goldberg won in 23 seconds. A very dark day. Very dark day. There was not one person that I ever heard somebody say, "Oh, that was a great match." No, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Yeah. So that happened on this day in 2017 at the WWE pay-per-view Fastlane. We had Goldberg come in, beat the Universal Champion Kevin Owens in just 23 seconds. I don't even know why I saw that one. I shouldn't have even picked it and found somebody else. Also, happy birthday to Jordan Grace from Impact Wrestling, who was also in the Royal Rumble. Happy birthday to her. And I don't know about you, Nacho, but I'm ready to do this. You ready, baby?
I'm ready.
All right, Nacho, let's get into it. We're going to start off with Revolution, AEW Revolution recap. And this one was coming to us from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, a capacity crowd of 16,876 fans. They came to witness something. They came to see the farewell match for the icon Sting. But man, oh man, did we have some matches. Nacho, hit us with the first one.
To start off the show in the 0 hour, we had a 12-man tag team match with the Bang Bang Gang, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, and then I don't remember the name of the other team. I wasn't super familiar with them going into it. Are you familiar with them?
Not too much.
Okay. But although I was not familiar with the other team, I was very familiar with the kind of formulated trio tag team on the other side. And I think this match was actually a little bit of fun. I feel like it gave like most of the members a good time to shine. Everyone got to do their own little thing. It didn't last too long, but I thought it was decent for what it was.
It was all right for me. I had to rewatch it. And I mean, I had to watch it later on after the pay-per-view because I got to admit something. And on this show, we keep it 100% real. I didn't realize the pay-per-view was on until almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So when Nacho, you were the one that told me, hey, 0 Hour is on, already started. And I was actually in the car, and I was like, I wasn't texting and driving, but I saw the message. I was at a light, and I said, it started already? And then by the time I got home, got settled, man, it was already 8:15. So I had to go back and rewatch it. But it was all right. Everybody got to do their little skits and things like that, and their moves and their move sets. So the crowd was into it. Obviously, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is very over with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So it was. I guess it was a pretty nice way to start off the show, the pre-show. But I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
What's the next one, man?
Next up, I don't have a slide for this one, but we did get something kind of interesting. Got me a little excited. We did have a little promo that Pac is coming back.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not super familiar with Pac, but from what I've seen online, people are very excited about it. I'm interested in seeing what he's got coming.
I'm interested in seeing what Pac we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
The last few years that he's come in and out, and also due to injury. But every time he comes back, it's like something a little bit different. So I'm kind of interested in seeing where he's going to come. The last time he was there, he was with the Death Triangle, which was with him, Pentagon, and his brother. Oh, my light just went out. What in the world happened? And hey, that's what happens when you're doing live shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of interested in seeing exactly what he's going to be doing, or how he's going to be coming back. If he's going to be the baby face, if he's going to be the heel. But one thing I do know is that Pac, there you go, let there be light. Pac really, he can go. And I just hope he stays healthy enough to be able, for them to be able to do a little bit more with him, because he's definitely a main event caliber wrestler. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
All
Next
right.
Up, we had a women's tag match of Willow, Chris Statlander, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart.
Uh-huh.
To be honest, this match, I was kind of tuning in and out because I was trying to get the actual pay-per-view set up. I was watching it on my phone. I thought it was okay. Wasn't the most interesting for me, but I thought for what it was pretty good. I didn't have too many issues with it. We had Willow and Statlander getting the pin. Willow pinned Sky Blue. So yeah, I don't know how you felt, but
It was a pass for me.
yeah.
It was a pass for me. I wasn't too I wasn't too key into it. And I don't know what it was, because I've seen them all wrestle before, and I've been into their matches, but this time it was like there was a lot of offness. It was a lot of awkwardness at times. But it wasn't something that to me, it kind of went a little too long for the way it was, being brought. And it wasn't that it was a long match, but it was just saying it was longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
But once again, it seems like Greensboro was into it, which remind me to be able to say something about, the event after we're all done, when we give our final grading. Okay. What's the next one, man?
Next up, after a pretty good Sting package, we had Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about this one?
I liked it.
Mhm.
I liked it. Christian Cage, to me, man, he's so good in storytelling. Like, and there's not a wasted move with him. Everything he does has meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And I love the way he picks up the pace, slows down the pace. And his that ring general, I guess you can call it, he really is. I see why a lot of wrestlers, when they talk about Christian, they always say he has a wrestling mindset. He knows how to make a match. And to tell you the truth, I mean, Daniel Garcia is good. Christian made him look amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I like it. I don't know if I'm a little biased because I'm a Christian Cage fan, but I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, definitely. And the crowd was definitely on board with it.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I think what they're doing with Daniel's pretty good. I definitely didn't think he was gonna win, but I thought it could have been interesting if there was something where we could have seen him with the turtleneck pretty soon. But it seems like they're not moving in that direction. Seems like they're
Yeah.
keeping them on separate sides. So yeah, I don't know what's next for Christian with how much Adam Copeland's getting injured, but I don't know. I'm really enjoying the storyline, so I'm not looking forward to end anytime soon.
Sounds good. Sounds good. What else we got, man?
Following that, we had Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. Um, I'm gonna be honest. After the last match, I feel like the show slowed down a little bit for me. There was a bit of a drop off. I think that both of these guys tried, but I feel like the match was just super slow and it just felt heavy while I was watching it. A lot of the sells were a little iffy. Um, and I just feel like a lot of the contact when they were doing like drop kicks or anything was just it was a full miss and they would have to play it off. But I'm interested to hear what you thought.
I think that between the two, here's something very interesting. I think Eddie Kingston is a dog, man. I think he can go at it. I love his matches with Moxley. Loved his match with CM Punk. I think he can definitely go. Bryan Danielson, of course, man. Come on, the American Dragon. There's what can you say about him? I mean, the guy's been everywhere, done everything, and he's a great fighter. These two, to me, have no chemistry with each other.
Mm,
It felt forced, very forced, and it almost made me feel like Danielson didn't know how to wrestle.
yeah,
And that was shocking because if you go back and watch it, it was Danielson that was doing a lot of the things that what are you doing? That's not even how you wrestle. That's not you.
yeah,
And Eddie was doing his thing as far as being the brute, being, come on, and it just felt there was no chemistry. None at all. None at all. And when I saw during the I honestly I thought Bryan Danielson is going to end up winning this match, even though the stipulation was an acknowledgement, a handshake, the code of honor, so to speak. But there was part of me that said Danielson's going to win this match. But the way he was performing, I was like, he's not winning this match. There's no way he's going to win this match. And after he lost, it made me feel not sure. The way I felt was Danielson didn't even care.
yeah,
That's how it felt. It felt like they told him, hey, so we're putting you guys together and Kingston's going over and Danielson gets mad and it just goes out there, whatever, and does it. And then the crowd, listen to the crowd. They were pumped in the beginning.
Yeah, they were divided too.
Man, it
They
did.
were,
It went down quick,
yeah,
quick. So, and I know that's not, it's not going to be a popular opinion, but hey, that's what we're doing here is giving our recap, our, opinion on it. There's some people that'll probably say that it was the greatest match on the card. I don't know how that could be possible, but as for me, I didn't like it at all.
yeah.
Didn't like it at all.
No, I liked at the end when Brian did shake his hand. He went to raise his hand, and the whole match he was just wailing on his one. I think it was his left arm, and
Uh-huh.
that's the hand that he went to raise. And Eddie was like, "Oh, oh!" I was like, that was probably the best part of the match to me. It was just that little funny moment where he actually raised the hand that he was destroying the entire time, and then respectfully lifted the other one. But that was the match for me.
So sold it to the end. He sold it to the end.
Yep.
What else we got?
Next up, moving into the 8-man All-Star match.
Whew.
Now, this match, coming off of the last one, there were some faces that I was excited to see in here. I'll be honest, and
Okay.
I know we had mentioned in our predictions that one of the people that we thought were going to win would lead into another match,
Uh-huh.
and what we thought was going to happen in that match. So
Okay.
immediately coming into this match, I was assuming based on the storyline that they were going to push for Hook to win. Although all these big guys, I could not see Hook winning against.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to put him over, put him over. So they start off the match, and pretty much all four big meaty men throw the little guys out of the ring and just have this standoff where they're running into each other and they're just deflecting each other. Nothing's happening because they're so strong that the two sets of two are canceling each other out.
Yeah.
For like 5 minutes. They're doing this. And then Wardlow starts staring at the Jumbotron because he's on it. He sees himself on the Jumbotron. This is like the first 5 minutes of this match. I don't even remember what caused it, but then basically the roles are reversed. All the big guys get thrown out. The little guys come in and basically do the same thing. I don't even know if you want to call them little, they're just the normal size guys. After that, I feel like we got some moments to shine with certain people. Definitely not for everyone. And I do want to point out that let me look for I wrote it down. Dante, did I write down his full
Dante
name?
Martin.
Dante botched when he was jumping out of the ring, he botched the jump really bad. His foot got caught in the ropes, but he kept the momentum going and he saved it. I feel like he picked himself back up, jumped up on the top rope and changed the move. And I feel like good on him for doing that and not letting that
Yeah.
throw everything off. But that was definitely a scary botch when he got tangled and almost went face first onto the ground.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Nacho, here's another match that I was like, what's going on? Who's the agent for this match? Because it was everywhere. Yes, there were spots that were crazy, good, but I found myself about 5, maybe 7 minutes into the match saying, "Man, this needs to end. Who's gonna win?" And at that point, I didn't know who was gonna win. At that point, I was like, okay, it doesn't look like it's Hook. They're beating the poor kid around. It was crazy. And then when Wardlow finished it off, I said, okay, I could understand it. They're trying to push that faction. Okay. But it was everywhere. It was everywhere. So for me, that was the second match in a row that I was like, oh, buddy, it's going to be a long night. And then the other thing is, we still had about 6 more matches after that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I hope it picks up because I'm not. I don't. This is gonna be a long night if not.
I do want to say too, at this point, I felt like a lot of the moves were getting repetitive. We saw a lot of super kicks, a lot of super kicks. Um, and then especially, I mean, we'll get into it later on, but watching Raw, I didn't feel that way at all. Watching Raw, that anything was getting repetitive for those 3 hours of that show. Were
Yeah.
4 or
So
5 matches into the show, and I felt like we were already getting really repetitive with what was going on.
here's my issue with that, Nacho. My issue is that first of all, the super kick was has always been around, but it was made. The super kick was made by a guy by the name of Gentleman Chris Adams in World Class Championship Wrestling. World Class Championship Wrestling, you would know because you saw the movie Von Erichs.
Yep.
So, Gentleman Chris Adams was the super kick guy. Now, that move was passed on to Shawn Michaels. Why? Because Shawn Michaels, at one point, was in World Class Championship Wrestling with his tag team partner, Marty Jannetty, and they were known as the Midnight Rockers. Kind of they had the Midnight Express in NWA and they had the Midnight Rockers in World Class Championship Wrestling. And Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were good guys. And Shawn Michaels asked Gentleman Chris Adams if he can use that. Yeah, absolutely. Shawn Michaels ends up, the story. He goes off to WWE, becomes a solo wrestler, and uses that as his finish. It's such a powerful move. Super kick, bam, knockdown, 1, 2, 3. Now it's done so much, it's almost like a clothesline.
Yeah.
And what really bothers me, and it only happens in AEW. I don't care what anybody says. It only happens in AEW where you would see someone super kick another man and the other man super kicks that guy right back and they're super kicking each other. And it's like, what is this? And then we get upset as fans when people say, hey, yeah, that stuff's fake, right? And then we can't defend it.
Yeah.
Because it's the most ridiculous thing. And you're absolutely right. The moves got so repetitive all the time. It was like if they were given a list of 10 moves and said, hey, these are the 10 moves that you got to do in this match. Everybody has to do it at least 3 times. That's how it felt. So I wasn't a fan of it at all. Hey, but that was a good observation that you did.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, especially with the announcers, I just feel like they were saying the same thing back to back to back to back to back. And I was like, does no one have an original move in the show? Like, because
yeah. And the other thing I was thinking when I was seeing all these super kicks, I was saying in my head, we're still going to see the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks, that's what they do.
Yep.
That's what they do. I don't know, man. Next match
was one that I was hopeful going into because I am a big Orange Cassidy fan. As much as they've been promoting this group, especially with Wardlow winning right before this, I still had some hope. I was excited to see an Orange Cassidy match. And then when he got in the ring and he takes his shirt off and almost his entire torso is wrapped in medical tape, I went, oh god. It's like, this is not good. Unfortunately, Orange Cassidy did not make it through the match on top. Roderick Strong took the belt. It was a nice moment for him, though, especially coming off of his injury to get that moment and be able to actually show off.
Absolutely.
I was happy for him at least because I did see an interview with him recently, and that put me onto him a little bit. I don't remember the fellow's name. It was the same guy that we mentioned the Chelsea Green interview with.
Oh, Chris Van Vliet.
Chris Van Vliet, check it out. He interviewed Roderick Strong recently, and it was a really good interview. So,
yeah, it's one of the matches I called where I said I think Roddy takes it. I'm happy for Roderick Strong. I really am. I've been liking Roderick Strong since he was in Ring of Honor before he got to the WWE. his matches with Adam Cole back then. I mean, they had some crazy matches, and all of a sudden, for him to show up in NXT and then become part of the Undisputed Era with these guys that they've all had great feuds with each other was amazing. To me, Undisputed Era is probably my favorite faction of all time. I mean, I grew up Four Horsemen era. Was a huge NWO fan, huge Bullet Club fan, but the Undisputed Era has to be my favorite faction of all time, by far. Those guys really, man. But for this match, it was an okay match. It was pretty good. I like the way Roddy slowed things down some. I like the way they worked the body.
Mhm.
You know, he told the story with that, which is very rare sometimes, especially in this promotion where somebody can have something taped up and they completely avoid it. They don't tell the story and working that angle. And in this case, Roderick, he worked it. But my favorite part was the end of the match. The end of the match, to see all of a sudden Kyle O'Reilly show up,
Yeah.
was very, very, very cool to see. You know, after he had those neck fusions and after the surgery, he had complications with the surgery, was losing so much. If you go on his Instagram, you can see his right arm was so much smaller than his left arm because he couldn't work it out.
Mhm.
And it was getting very small. He had the same condition that Paul Orndorff had. And if you go watch Paul Orndorff when he went to WCW his final years, he had one arm and the other arm was very, very weak. And Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly had this condition, and almost 2 years in recuperating, and it's hard to recuperate from an injury, especially when you're diabetic. And I was really, really happy. I was not expecting to see him anytime soon, but it was really, really cool to see him, and he looked good. He looked good. So to me, I thought that was by far my favorite moment of the night. To hear the crowd reaction towards him, you can see the kind of almost the shock look on his face, like he was about to get emotional there
Yeah.
because the crowd was so into him. And then he goes on social media later on and says, it was an emotional moment for me that so many people care that I came back. And I thought that was awesome. I really did. So big ups to Roderick Strong. Congrats on winning the title. And also to Kyle O'Reilly. And they left some teas in there. They right away gave him the shirt. Hey, part of this, the Undisputed Kingdom. Here we go. And he took the shirt and he gave it back to them. He said some words to them, but he left. So it's gonna open up to a storyline here, and I think it's gonna be amazing because we all know that Roger Strong is with Adam Cole. So to see Kyle come back, what's gonna happen there? I'm excited to see where this goes. But to me, it was a good match so far. For me, that was probably the best match of the night up until that point. To me,
Yep.
it was probably the best match
Yep.
because of the
Agreed.
storytelling.
All right. Next up, in my opinion, another pretty good match. We had FTR versus John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli.
Yep.
I thought this match was pretty interesting. I didn't know how this match was going to go going into it. I predicted John Moxley and Claudio just because I really didn't know what they were going to do with FTR.
Yeah, I thought I said FTR was going to win. I think I said FTR
Yeah,
on this one.
we were split on this one.
Yep.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a little bit slow to begin with, but then I feel like halfway through towards the end, I think it picked up and they linked up pretty well. We had a lot of blood in this match. a lot of blood in this match.
By pretty much one guy.
Yeah, he was basically sweating blood. But FTR ended up taking the win.
Um, yeah, I thought FTR was going to win this.
FTR
Obviously,
took the loss.
yeah, obviously they took the loss. They're in Greensboro, North Carolina. Of course, you're going to pay homage to the Road Warriors coming out. Moxley, and it looked like they went to the Play It Again Sports and just bought some youth shoulder pads and put some spikes on it because it was nothing like Road Warrior.
No, yeah.
But that's just us being picky. But they came out obviously with the Wild Thing song playing in the beginning of the Wild Thing. You know how it goes like wild. You know it goes. It's almost like the old Road Warriors NWA theme music where it was like because they would come out to Ozzy Osbourne's what's the name of that song? Ozzy Osbourne. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's I thought it was a pretty good match. I'm surprised that Moxley didn't bleed like he usually does.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a Vegas odd on that, and he found out, so he said, "You know what? I'm gonna make somebody lose a lot of money and not bleed like that." It was kind of strange, and then it was at the end of the match where all four of them are kneeling down, they're looking at each other, and then Mox and Claudio leave the ring, and then Dax comes in the ring. It just looked weird. Like, what is he doing? I don't know if he was. I don't know what he was. If he was lost or something, I don't know. But it was like if I thought something else was going to happen, and then he just leaves the ring. I was like, so he was outside the ring when these guys left. Then he comes in the ring to get right back out the ring. I thought he was going to grab the mic for some reason. I thought there was something else going to happen. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match though. It was all right.
A lot of 2 counts. A lot of 2 counts at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of false finishes. Absolutely. There really was. And the crowd was definitely into this one as well. Obviously, they were definitely into this.
All right. Next up, we had Timeless Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo.
Purrazzo.
What did you think about this match?
All right. There was some good moments, but I think I said that I thought Deonna might take it. No, I don't remember. I thought I said Deonna might take it.
I think you said Deonna.
Yeah, and you were like, you said Tony Storm's winning this. She's not dropping the belt. So you were right on this one. After watching the match, I could see why people are on Tony Storm so much as far as, you know, that she's going to be champion for a while. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to hold on to it till Britt gets back or whatnot, but it was evident she wasn't going to lose this title. And I don't know if Deonna was nervous, which she shouldn't be because she's been on the big stage before. Yeah. But it just felt like there was moments where she was uncomfortable. So I don't know I don't know if it was, you know, because it's her first pay-per-view in this company. There was just something off about it. But it was evident Tony wasn't going to lose this match. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was. I agree with you on that. I also, from what I've seen recently with AEW, I don't think there was much build-up. Deonna only really showed up recently, past couple weeks, so I didn't think there was enough build-up. Also, just Tony Storm commits so much to this role. I feel like for her to have a feud where she would end up dropping the title, they have to build this up for a while. I don't know if you saw her post match, like in the conference afterwards. Her whole interview, she stayed in character. She was asking her butler to get her like a certain brand of tea. she had like a note that she read in like a dramatic way that she had prepared. Like she had her little like cape on too and all this stuff. Like the amount that she commits to this character really impresses me at least. I it started out as a kind of a strange gimmick and she's really turned it into something creative and fun. So
And
yeah, I'm excited to see.
I think that's amazing because you know AEW is not known for their characters and they're building characters. So to see that she can go and maintain in character, it almost reminds me of the year that Cody Rhodes just went to that media scrum that they had, and he stayed in character as Stardust the whole time. 7 o'clock in the morning, they were doing these WrestleMania media things, and he's dressed in his Starbucks paint. I mean Starbucks in his Stardust paint and everything. And I'm like, this dude is he's really living the gimmick. So to see, to hear you talk about how she did that at the end of the match in a media scrum, I think that's pretty hilarious. So big ups to her, man. She doing her thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where she goes with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The next one was a good one.
Oh, the next one was an amazing one, and also an amazing post-match conference interview as well. If you haven't checked it out, Will Ospreay's interview after his match at the press conference was really good. If you want to hear more about him or get his kind of personality out of that, but I had a ton of fun with this match. I think this is one of the main matches I was texting you during because I was having so much fun with it.
Yeah, this Will Ospreay is the dude, man. I keep telling people before he was named Wrestler of the Year a few years ago. I kept telling people, look, man, after Kenny Omega, this guy's the best wrestler on the planet. And then when Kenny was hurt, what was it, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that he was out for a long time.
Yeah,
Will Ospreay was doing his thing, and he's just so good. He's so good. But there's one thing he's not good at is he's not a 10-minute wrestler guy. You can't give him 10 minutes because he's the type of guy, he's like a Okada in a sense where they need at least 15 to 25 minutes because at the 10-minute mark is when they start developing deeper into that story.
mm-hmm.
And they really get into that at the 10-minute mark. And if you're going to give him a match of 10 minutes, it's not going to be a good match. But man, this guy is so good. He really is good. The way he does his moves, he throws himself at it. And very impact, whenever he throws an elbow, whenever he throws a clothesline, everything has an impact with it. Really, really big impact. So I think it's a good pickup of the AEW to sign him. I'm sure he had offers to stay in New Japan. I'm sure he had offers from WWE. But I think it's a very good signing, very good pickup from Will Ospreay. And I think it's probably just a matter of time before he's going to be sniffing around that heavyweight title picture, man.
Oh, definitely. I would love to see. I mean, you could put him with MJF when MJF comes back. I don't see them putting the title on him right away, but I mean, maybe he and MJF get a feud when MJF comes back that they want a shot at the title with whoever's got it.
Yep.
But I had a ton of fun with this match was because unlike some of the things we were mentioning before, they saved some special things for the end and midway mark of this match that kept the flow interesting. They were doing like flips on each other, but then staying connected and doing almost like that cartwheel thing, but like front flips.
Yeah.
The whole match was just it felt fresh. It felt like the energy didn't stop. And you could definitely see that the crowd, some of the crowd I could tell at the beginning was not interested, especially in the front row. There were a lot of people in Sting t-shirts that started off on their phones. And by the end of their match, especially when the match finished, they were jumping up and down with their hands in the air, like into this match.
Yes. And I thought personally, to me, this was the match of the night.
Yeah.
I thought it was the match of the night.
Easily.
Yep. Will Ospreay, man, he's the man. He's
Once
the
again,
man. He's the man. What else?
next up, our second to last match of the night, we had a trio match for the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland. When they had Prince Nana show up with a whole group of background dancers for Swerve's
Yeah,
entrance, I was fully committed to the fact that Swerve has to win this match. I was
I'm with you,
sold
bro.
that Swerve was winning. When they had everybody else with their normal entrances, and then the Swerve when they hit that, and you saw this whole entourage, people in the crowds had the move going. I thought it was his time. And honestly, in the match, I feel like he did the most out of anybody. I feel like Samoa Joe, for most of the match, was in the corner a little winded. He seemed like he was struggling for the
Yeah.
majority of that match. He was
You know,
sitting down in the corner.
I'm with you all the way, man. I'm with you all the way. I think I said that I don't think Joe was going to drop the belt. But man, when I Swerve, man, what I love is that Chris Donald's doing all that crazy dancing and then all of a sudden Swerve comes out and he's just laser focused.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I really want Swerve to get this title win, man. And he did everything. And it made me feel bad in the sense where he did so much. And he carried this match so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but I kind of feel like Hangman Adam Page has kind of fell off a little. You know, just 2 years, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, everyone was saying how he was the future of professional wrestling. If you remember the first All Out and the All Ins and being the elite when they were still in New Japan and in Ring of Honor, everybody kept saying Adam Hangman Page is the future of professional wrestling, the future of professional wrestling. I think he's fallen off, man.
Yeah.
He's fallen off. In my opinion, he's fallen off a lot. And it's messed up because I think Adam Hangman Page is an amazing talent. I would love to see him in the WWE. Why? Because I think that they can build the character up the way it should be. They will put him in the right direction for him to be able to develop this character and take it to huge heights. Why? Because his body style and his work, not the flip parts, but his work reminds me a lot of Hunter.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Triple H. And I could see him becoming a Triple H 2.0 in a sense where he takes that but I feel like he's fallen off in AEW. But man, Swerve, they need to put that title on Swerve quick. They need to strike while the iron is hot. And the fans were going crazy for Swerve. Swerve.
So whose house?
So Swerve's house. So that was my take on it, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, especially towards the end, I thought Swerve had it. Up until that last, I don't even know what Samoa Joe did. He like crawled up and stole the pin. Was that what it was?
Yep. Rolled him up.
Swerve was like halfway up on the ropes, laying down in the ring because he had fallen. I thought he had it. I was devastated. But going into our last match of the night, one that probably most fans bought the pay-per-view or went to the pay-per-view for, if not all of them, we had the AEW tag titles on the line. Sting and Darby Allin against the Young Bucks. They go by Matthew and Nicholas Jackson now. Don't say their other names or they will sue you. What did you think of this match overall?
First off, I thought that the promo package they did in the beginning with Sting was amazing. Man, it took me down memory lane big time, big time, big time. I love the fact that Sting had his two sons there with him. One
Yeah,
came out like the 80s Sting, the other one came out like Wolfpack Sting, and then he comes out. It was it was good. It was good. And I couldn't believe that we were seeing the end of an era. It was great. And I remember the last show that we had that we were talking about our predictions. I said, man, they need to drop the titles because Sting is old school. And old school, when you're giving it up, you let the next person have it. You put them over. The Young Bucks will be the champions. And I even said something, you could do so much with this match. Have Darby turn on Sting. I said so much. And boy, was I so wrong of
yep.
everything that I said. Why? Because they retained the titles. They retained the titles, and I was shocked. Where do they go from here? I don't know. I don't know. There were some things, though, that in the match, there were some good moments. But of course, when the super kicks started happening, we had already seen 10,000 super kicks. But they maintained the crowd in it. The crowd was definitely in it. They every move. When Sting had his sons coming and doing the stinger splashes, there were stinger splashes going left and right like super kicks. They were going crazy. And then Darby being Darby. Darby, that spot right there. If that ain't the most insane thing, my man jumped off a ladder, front flip into this thick, humongous piece of glass, and it shattered into thousands of pieces. And as he laid on his stomach, because he rolled over, smart thinking, knowing the camera was going to be there, that way the camera could look at the back, all of a sudden you see the blood just come from different spots.
Yep.
And I sat there and I was like, that's insane. The crowd was going bananas. But here's my thing. Darby is a talented wrestler. And the problem is that he keeps doing these stunts. And one or two things are going to happen. You're going to get to a point that there's not going to be anything you can do because you've done everything. And every time you do something crazy like this, the next time people are going to be saying, oh, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? And you won't be able to top it. Or now you're starting to put your life in danger because you're pushing the limits. It's like the Kofi Kingston thing. Every Royal Rumble, he was doing something. And it got to the point that they were like, what's Kofi going to do? What's Kofi going to do? Now you don't see Kofi do anything because he's done so much. He's walked on his hands. He's been caught. He's walked on the pancakes. He's held onto the barricade. He's done so much. Darby Allin has done so much. And falling into that glass, it's like, okay, you got to beat that. The second thing that could happen is he won't have a long career, bro. That's the truth. Dude, how many times can you put your body through something like that and expect to be wrestling for the next 10 years? And you don't want to be known as the spot guy.
No.
That's one thing I heard Mick Foley say in an interview. That he started becoming known for the spot guy. Oh, that's the guy that fell off the Hell in a Cell. That's the guy that's not afraid to do this. That's the guy that took chair shots from Rocky. That's the guy. And he didn't want to be known as that. He didn't want to be known as that. So it's one of those things, like it's a catch-22 with Darby Allin. And like you said, man, he got so much flack on in the media for that spot.
Yeah.
To me, it's professional wrestling. To me, let these guys go ahead and put on a performance. But the last thing I want is for somebody to get hurt. And to me, that was just too much. I just can't believe there wasn't nobody backstage to say, hey, man, let's not do that spot.
That's where
because
CM Punk
the
was there.
last person that was there that didn't want to do a glass spot was telling the person, hey, you shouldn't do this glass spot. Well, he's no longer with that company, and that's CM Punk.
Yeah.
So that tells me that there's nobody backstage that's wanting to tell him, hey, jumping off that 15-foot ladder, doing a front flip on that thick, humongous piece of glass might not be a smart thing to do. And I don't want to hear nobody say, oh, it was propped glass. No, the guy cut his back. You can't cut your back yourself doing that. So the match was okay. I think it was the meaning behind the match, that it was Sting's last match, that made the match good. But if we forget that Sting is retiring, the match wasn't that good.
No.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And to see Sting go over in his last match, okay, it was a feel-good moment, fine. But man, what do you do with the titles? Now Darby, what is he going to wrestle a couple matches as a champion himself? I don't know, man. What are your thoughts? Talk to me.
Just to go back to the Darby point, not only did he land on the glass, he also jumped from I don't even know how tall that ladder was, straight onto the ground. Because that glass can only do so much to break your fall.
Exactly.
You went straight on the ground, and you're telling me he didn't hurt his back at all? That's honestly crazy. But also, I don't know. Sting, at the age that he's at, the speed that he was moving at blew my mind as well. He was running the ropes like the Young Bucks were, like the same speed, same momentum. If you had told me before I knew his age that he was as old as he was, especially hearing his voice, I don't think he sounds like an old man.
No.
I would have told you you're crazy.
He left it all in the ring.
He did.
He
And to see
really
him
did.
have that moment with his kids,
Awesome.
I've seen people wanting them.
Awesome. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't want to cut you off, Nacho, but I'm gonna tell you something. Being a father myself, and I got 3 boys and 1 girl. When your kids get to an age where they're adults, to be able to have moments with them is something unforgettable. And I can honestly tell you that I'm sure the best part of that pay-per-view for Sting, the best moment was for him to be in the ring with his sons, looking at them the way he looked like 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago. I thought that was an amazing moment. I'm sure that if you probably asked Sting what was your favorite part of the night, he would probably say, my sons joining me to ringside. That was really, really cool. So go ahead, man. Keep going. What were you saying?
I do also want to mention we had a special guest commentator of Ricky the Steamboat Dragon on there.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Yes, sir.
We had him there. We had Ric Flair showed up for a little bit. He got knocked out, fell underneath the ropes, and laid there for a bit.
Yeah, how did he get knocked out? What did they do? A super kick.
Kicked him. Yeah.
They super kicked him. Of course they did. Of course they did.
We had a lot of former wrestlers that Sting had been involved with in the past in the crowd. They got to show up. We also had Paul Walter Hauser, shout out Stingray. He was there. So it was nice to see some familiar faces there and people actually showed up for Sting.
In parentheses, because you were talking about wrestlers that were there. So I don't know if you knew this or not, or if you got to see it, but sitting right behind commentary was the Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA, which they were big feuds back in the 80s. And when Sting started wrestling, he was feuding with Nikita Koloff. He had feud with Nikita Koloff. So to see Nikita Koloff there, Nikita Koloff now is a pastor. Magnum TA is a minister. Magnum TA, if you didn't know, is the stepdad to Tessa Blanchard. Why? Tessa Blanchard, of course, her dad being Tully Blanchard, one of the original members of the Four Horsemen. He was also the manager of FTR when FTR came to AEW. But Tully Blanchard's, was married, had a daughter named Tessa, and then he got divorced. Well, Tessa's mom married Magnum TA, so she has a Hall of Fame father and a Hall of Fame stepdad. So to see them two there was awesome. Knowing that it was in North Carolina, where so many matches happened from the NWA North Carolina, was awesome. But I thought that was pretty cool. Go right ahead, man.
Speaking of former wrestlers, something I forgot to mention in the 8-man tag, we did have Jake the Snake Roberts there as well.
Yes, yes.
He didn't do much. He just kind of stood there and stared in the corner. But he was there. It's cool that they at least gave him a shout out. As for the main event match, I did like seeing that we got so many spots. I was worried when they initially went through the tables. Sting did not come back for a while, and they kept mentioning that the medical team was checking on him. We saw him go through, and everybody else came back to the ring, and he was not there for a while. So I got worried that something happened in his last match. They even had JR mentioning how, God forbid, that would have happened. But I was okay with it. It definitely wasn't the best match of the night, but I definitely think it was cool. One thing that they did mess up on was timing, because as soon as it was time for Sting's retirement, just thank you
farewell speech.
His farewell speech, they just cut to black as soon as he said that he was getting cues, and the stream was over. So anybody that wasn't in the arena had to wait until, I don't know how long it was posted after. I didn't see it till the next day to actually see Sting's farewell speech on Twitter.
That was bad. But I mean, if the show started at 6 and it's midnight, it just shows you there was some matches they just took too long. They needed to cut some time out. Overall, though, if we're gonna grade this on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, Nacho, what are you giving AEW's Revolution 2023?
If I'm being generous, I'll give it a 3. I'll say it was all right. It definitely wasn't anything crazy, but it wasn't necessarily bad. I'd say there were more matches that I was content with than I was happy with. It was pretty slow for a majority of the time, a lot of repetitiveness, but there were a couple matches that I would say at least sparked my interest in people going forward, and I thought delivered good moments to people who deserved it.
Well, I think you and I are right on, because that's what I would give it, is about a 3. I think I will give it a 3. I'm having an issue with AEW right now. We have a weird relationship at the moment, myself and AEW. One thing I can tell you is that a lot of things that happen would have never happened in the WWE. What I mean by that is the repetiting of the moves. In WWE, there have been timeless interviews that we've seen where wrestlers say, when your agent asks you, what moves are you doing? Or they'll come up to you and say, you can't do XYZ move because they're doing that in another match. And the seniority you have, or the higher you are on the card, those are the guys that get to do that kind of stuff. Not everybody can go through the announce table and they can rebuild it and go through it. No, because somebody's already doing that. Well, then I'm going to grab a chair. And you can't do that because that's already being done. Well, I'll grab a ladder. Well, I'll grab... WWE, there's not a lot of repetitiveness. There's not. And I'm not hating on AEW, but like I said, AEW and I have a weird relationship at the moment. But there's just a lot of things that used to be done differently in AEW that's not being done right now. And that's why, in my opinion, the numbers don't lie. That's why AEW is in the place that they are right now. So all in all, I give it about a 3. Sting's farewell match, an arena that sits 20,000 people. They just sold 16,000 tickets. I think they could have sold out if they would have just made the stage a little smaller. It's Sting's farewell. But nonetheless, a great career. Absolutely. Hall of Fame worthy, of course. He's already in the Hall of Fame in WWE. So, but yeah, about a 3. About a 3 is right where I'll put it, just like you.
I think AEW just needs to focus on storylines for everyone going forward and not just for their world title, because more than half of these matches just felt thrown together and had nothing coming for them. And I think if they can find a way to build up storyline, because WWE will run a 3-hour show, and every match and every backstage segment has something behind it and a reason for it to be happening. As much as some of the matches and some of the ones that we saw last night did feel slightly repetitive, they still had a reason to be doing it. So AEW just needs to find a path where there's just actual storyline behind everything and not just the one title.
Do you think AEW is on a good they're in a good spot right now?
I don't know. There's so many different reports that come out. I don't know what's real, what's not. I don't know who's getting those numbers, who's not. I definitely think they're nowhere near where WWE is right now. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Coming out of this, I think coming out of this will definitely tell where they're headed for the year. Because if they can't pick up momentum with Will Ospreay, if they can't pick up momentum with, if they give Swerve the storyline, if they drop Swerve completely after this and don't give him, then they're headed down for sure. Especially losing Sting. If they mess up with Darby coming out of this, they've really just messed up fully.
All right, brother. What else we got today, man?
All right, we are going to go into our Raw recap from last night.
Yes, sir.
Opening the show, we had Michael Cole giving a shout out to Sting on the other property.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. I thought that was nice to see.
Yeah, it shows you the times are different in WWE. And that's all Triple H, man, because Hunter's all about history, wrestling history. Vince was more like, if they're not here, they don't exist. So yeah. That's cool. That was really cool hearing Michael Cole do that.
So we had Cody opening the show. He talked a little bit about the recent stuff The Rock has been saying in the Bloodline. He invited out Seth freaking Rollins in Seth's special highlighter outfit.
Hey, my son told me, Dad, that is the most ugliest jacket I've ever seen. And I started laughing. I said, yeah, it is. And he said, but I want it for some reason. I said, oh my God.
That's Seth for you. If anyone can pull it off, Seth will.
Yep.
They announced that Seth is 100% cleared.
Yep.
They also said that they accept the challenge that The Rock and Roman put out, and that they will be going face to face with them on Friday.
Yep, they're going to SmackDown to face them. Tell them answering. He said, "I'm going to answer the question that you already know is obvious." So very interesting.
Cody said, "Don't you ever talk about my dog again." After what The Rock said on Instagram.
That's right. Don't you ever talk about Pharaoh Rocky, or should we call him Diarrhea Johnson? What was it? Diarrhea Dwayne?
Diarrhea Dwayne.
Yes. Oh man, that was great. That was great. That was great. Everybody started yelling diarrhea. Oh my God. When you had San Antonio and they were at a capacity, hey, and that crowd was ready. That crowd was ready, Nacho. I could tell. I take the tone of the crowd. We get the radar, the gauge of the crowd's interaction every time Cody comes out. When you get that whoa, they were
Mhm.
singing the song, they were whoaing like crazy. Even Cody was pumped up before he went into his promo. He turned around, was pumped up with the crowd. When he says, "So, San Antonio, what do you want to talk about?" It was like they were so into it. Um, but it was a really hot crowd, and when they started yelling diarrhea, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Hey, like Seth said, he's kind of over the Rock.
Yeah,
I'm over the Rock,
yeah.
and you know what? I'm over the Rock too. I've been over the Rock since the Attitude Era, so I thought it was good. What you think about the segment?
I thought it was pretty good, and I'll agree with you on The Rock. I mean, I've said before that the time that I watched before the last year was when I was in middle school, and I was a diehard Cena fan for the short time that I did watch, to the point where I boycotted The Rock. Any movie that came out, would not see it. Anytime a commercial would come on, I'd change the channel. I was fully against The Rock, and I still am. I've opened up a little bit to him. I'll watch his movies now, but especially with the path that he's on right now, trash talking people's dogs, calling people crackheads, get him out of here. Taking people's spots at WrestleMania.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like The Rock. I didn't have a problem with The Rock after the Attitude Era. I didn't like him during the Attitude Era. I was more of an Austin fan.
Mhm.
And then when he would come every now and then and say hi to the people, whatever, I thought it was cool. Okay. What really upset me was when he came back and he took CM Punk's spot at WrestleMania. CM Punk didn't get to main event WrestleMania. It really upset me because I was a huge CM Punk fan. And I'm still am a CM Punk fan. And when that happened, I was like, man, I'm not. I'm no man. The Rock needs to go away. And every time he would come back, and he did some funny things, like when he did the thing with Austin Theory. I thought that was hilarious, especially when he took his Austin Theory's Yeezys and threw it in the audience when they were in, I think, Colorado or something like that.
Mhm.
And SmackDown, it's cool, but I'm over the Rock, man. I'm over it. I'm over it.
All right, moving right into that, we went straight into a subtle drop of the night. Randomly, going into commercial, they had the promo up next. Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom Mysterio versus Gunther.
The rings are alive.
When I saw that promo going into commercial, I was like, huh? What? Like that? Just like that? I know we have the little bit of their meetup, their little standoff last week, but I was like that with no promotion? And I'm happy to say that this match was actually good. I had fun with this match.
Dominic got his
Am I
butt
hearing?
tore up.
He did, but he held his own for a little bit.
He did.
He also got his
I
shirt
like the
torn
way
off. We
you.
got to see just chest
I
for the
like the
first time
way.
in forever.
Yeah, yeah. I thought we were gonna see his six pack. He's been talking about. When he grabbed Gunther's hand and threw it up against the post on the outside, I was like, oh, okay, work it, man. Go ahead and work your thing. But
Mhm.
man, it looked like Gunther was trying to chop the soul out of Dominic. And
Oh,
every chop felt like it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And it was getting harder and harder and harder. And I was like, man, poor Dominic, man. He's never gonna want to take a chop again. And Dominic gave Gunther some chops too.
he
Gunther
did.
had his chest marked up, but it
Yeah,
almost felt like Gunther was the baby face here because the crowd
a little
hates.
bit.
San Antonio was so against Dominic that they were cheering for Gunther, and then with Gunther smiling, I was like, wait a minute, when did this switch? What is going on here? But man, it was
Yeah,
a
the
really
commentary was
good
good.
match. I thought it was a really good match. And I keep telling people this, and people think I'm crazy because he gets booed all the time. But Dominic is good.
He is.
Dominic can go, man.
Yeah.
And he's getting better and better and better. I'm telling you, Dominic is here for the long haul. They need to start paying more attention to Dominic because I know right now he's just the goofy, the little brother of the Judgment Day, the
Mhm.
little engine that could, and he's trying to chuck along, and now he's trying to go up against the bigger guys and stuff. But I'm telling you, Dominic is doing really, really, really well. So I thought it was a good match. Thought it was a really good match.
I like that Gunther also had, especially after the last time Pat saw Gunther, he got the stare down because he was dancing to Jey Uso's theme song. So this week, Pat McAfee was fully on Gunther's side, yelling at Dom, telling him he sucks, to the point where Dom took his gum wad out, threw it at Pat,
It threw
made
it.
him get off the table. That was priceless to me.
Oh man, really good, really good.
Yeah, I had fun with this match, and I liked how Gunther he made an example out of Dom because he had him in the pin. They got to two, and he grabbed him by the mullet, and he yanked him back up. And he
Picked him
put him
back
back
up.
up and threw him back in a power bomb, hit him around a couple more times before he was finally done with him. I had a lot of fun with this match.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. It was a really good match, and the crowd was into it from start to finish. They were into it the whole time. The false finishes, where when Gunther had him up for that power bomb and down rolled back, and I thought it was a good match. The crowd was into it. But yeah, the ring general, Gunther. Gunther did his thing.
Yep. And then we saw Damage Control backstage after this, cutting to commercial.
Yes, we
Damage
did. Yes, we
Control,
did.
they were talking to Adam Pearce
Uh huh.
about the Kabuki Warriors when Shinsuke Nakamura pulled up. Shinsuke wants
Mister
in on the Intercontinental
Robinson.
title.
Now, before you continue, why did Adam Pearce say when he said, "What are you guys doing here?" Dakota says, "Well, the women's tag team champion. We're coming to check out our opponents, scouting doing some scouting reporting."
Hmm.
And Adam Pearce says, "Oh, because the last time you guys were here, you guys been running up muck and this and that." Why couldn't Adam Pearce say, "Well, you know what, Dakota, you're not the women's tag team champion, and EO, you're not the women's tag team champion, so you two need to leave the building."
Hmm.
I don't know why he didn't do that, but they ended up sticking around. They
Also,
stuck around.
Dakota was
But
acting a
man,
little bit like the new leader of Damage Control. She was the voice of Damage Control a little bit there.
yeah, and she's. I like that Dakota Kai has really come out of this shell.
Hmm.
And she's really been vocal, and she's really the one that's barking the orders. Later on, when she's in the ring, she's hitting the promo marks, you know. Um, but man, when my man Shinsuke, Mr. Strong Style himself, came into that picture frame, and he goes, "Hey Adam, yeah, I want to talk to you." I said, "Oh man, Shinsuke looking for it. My man Shinsuke's looking for a title shot.
Hmm.
He's looking for it, Nacho." What do
No
we have
more,
after that?
no more messing around for Shinsuke getting beat by the
Nope,
his,
nope.
so
He ain't. Nope. He's
he
ready to
brought
do
the
this.
he, he brought the Beetlejuice fit to show he's not messing around this time.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go with the pinstripe.
After this, we went into a match that I feel like we've seen a couple times spread throughout the card. It's either the beginning, it's either right in the middle, or it's right at the end, right before the main event. We had Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Before I say anything, what did you think about this?
I'm not a fan of Carter and Chance. They really don't do much for me. They don't. I knew that Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks were going to win this match. They really don't do much for me as a tag team either. I don't know. Their chemistry hasn't fully grabbed each other yet. So yeah, it was a pass for me. I think the match was eh, eh. But oh well. They had to have the match to be able to get to the promo at the end of it.
Yeah, and I will mention we saw a double superfly off the top rope. I think that was pretty cool.
Yep. Michael Cole says, "Oh wow, double superflex or something like that," and it was Pat McAfee had to tell him. I think it was a double Spanish fly. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It was a double Spanish fly." I'm like, "Come on, Michael, really?" But yeah, that was a good spot. That was a good spot. The storytelling in the match wasn't bad.
No,
it wasn't bad. But it didn't do much for me.
I was mad at the ending because it was so obvious what was going to happen. Because you had Kaden was celebrating that Katana was pinning Zoe.
Yeah, I'm like,
she had just knocked Shayna out of the ring, and she ran away from where she knocked Shayna out to celebrate on her knees on the other side of the ring, all the way away from her, only to let Zoe run in and help. I mean, only to let Shayna run in to help. And then that's what lost them the match. I was like, how more obvious could you be?
Yeah, and then when they're pulling Carter off the ring, and Chance is trying to pull her back in, like, hey, and she's saying, stop it. I'm like, turn around.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. But you knew where it was going. So it looks like we're gonna get, I believe, next week, right? We're getting that title shot. Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler versus the Kabuki Warriors. So our early predictions. Who do you think takes this match?
I don't think that the Kabuki Warriors are going to lose it.
Nah, I don't either. They're not dropping these titles.
Also, it's only if they don't lose in NXT tonight.
Yeah, well, when you already make a title shot for next week, they're not dropping the belts tonight.
No.
What else we got, man?
Following this up, we had
Nia.
We had the Damage Control came in, made themselves known leading up to that. We had a little bit of a backstage promo before the Nia Jackson Becky match where we had Andrade checking up on Dom. Dom, he was huddled up in the medical bay. He had his towel. He was hurt. Everybody was checking on him. Andrade popped in and pushed his way through the group and just said, just making sure you're okay. So Andrade is still making himself known to Dom. I don't know what they're doing with Andrade. I'm wondering if it's something where if you got to choose Andrade or Rhea, you want mommy or poppy? Another one of those? I don't know.
I love it.
That would be cool.
I love it.
And then Damian pulls a Grayson Waller on JD and says, "You gotta make sure that Gunther knows what's up, and you need to get some payback for what he did to Dom, JD of all people." So I don't know what he was thinking with that one, pushing JD, unless he just wants JD to get hurt.
Possibly.
Maybe they're pushing him away again. But then we moved right into Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch.
Yes, the man.
Yeah. What did you think about this match? Because I know we've had a lot to say about Nia.
It was good. I didn't want it to go. I'm glad it ended in a DQ. I didn't want, you don't need to beat Nia right now. Nia doesn't need to get pinned or anything like that. You're not going to pin Becky. I like to see that. I like that roughness of that match. And Nia's getting better and better. She's getting better and better, man. She did good. She did good at the PLE event that they had. We talked about that. I thought it was good. The Liv Morgan thing. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we have confirmed for next week Becky versus Liv, but it seems like Liv's trying to work her way in something with. She did have her eyes set on revenge against Rhea, but now it seems like she's hyper focused on Becky. She lost her match last week, so I don't
Can
know.
you
Maybe
see
she'll work her
us?
way in.
Can you see a scenario where Liv Morgan causes Becky Lynch the title at WrestleMania?
Maybe. That would definitely be something interesting that could lead into SummerSlam.
Okay.
I definitely
Okay.
could see that, but I don't know. It all depends on what happens next week with Liv and Becky.
Yep. We'll find out. We'll find out. What we got?
Next up, after this match, we went back to Andrade for his debut match against Apollo Crews. I was excited to see Apollo Crews back.
I was too. I'm upset that they brought him back for him to lose to Andrade, but it was good to see Apollo, man. It was really good to see Apollo, and he looked like he's in tip-top shape. So It was good.
I was excited. I think that I thought they did a good job showcasing both of them a little bit.
Yes.
It wasn't like one side was leaning a certain way the whole match. I thought it was a fun match. Yeah, for what it was, yeah.
I thought it was a good match too. It was a good match. It's good to see Andrade back in the WWE where he belongs.
Yeah, the crowd was definitely there for him too, and I liked his whole entrance with his mask. I thought that was cool. They gave him that as well.
And it's weird seeing a babyface Andrade, but this is good. This is good for him. This is really good for him. And I don't know if you know this, but when he was in NXT, Triple H was a huge Andrade Lido fan. It was one of the first. He was one of the first guys that Triple H actually went to Mexico to meet with him and sign him. So it's not surprising to me that Andrade is being put in a position where he is now. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see, especially if they do something with the Poppy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that'll be interesting. That would spike up or spark something with the Judgment or the Judgment Day.
The Judgment Day. Yep, absolutely.
Next up, we went backstage with Mr. Adam Pearce again. Special announcement regarding the Intercontinental Championship. Next Monday, we are having a gauntlet match between Ricochet, Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Big Bronson Reed, Shinsuke Nakamura, and JD McDonough. And the winner will face Gunther at WrestleMania.
Okay, so pause right there. Let's go through this real quick because I know that you've been waiting to talk about this. So, the 6 men that are in this match, this gauntlet match, do you think they're the right guys to be in this match? That's the first question I have for you. Go.
I think 4 of them are. I think 2 of them are not.
Who are not? Who shouldn't be in this match? See if it's the same guys as I think.
First up, JD. JD has no reason to be in this match.
Absolutely.
Just because he's been injured, Ricochet.
Absolutely. So those 2 guys should not be in it. Let's put 2 guys in. Who do you put in?
I don't know for the Intercontinental. Who do you have first? I'll see if I agree, or if there was someone I would swap out. I'm trying to think.
I would bring Sheamus back. I don't know where. I don't know if he's still injured or if he's ready to come back. It doesn't matter if he's SmackDown or not. I would bring Sheamus back to get it to put more eyes on this itself. That's what I would think. Okay, that being said, who are you taking to win this match next week?
You already know. The Gable himself is winning this match.
Okay. Now this is where I got to play the heel.
Mm-hmm. Hit me with it.
Then what happens with Sami Zayn? He's so over with the crowd. What happens with Sami?
That was my first thought because I want Sami on the WrestleMania card, and it feels like at this point Sami's just getting thrown into whatever spot's available. So as much as I want the Gable push, that was my first thought after I saw this announcement, and I got excited about Chad. I don't think Sami's going to win it. I still think if we had to put two people on top to win this, Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. Those are my top two picks.
Okay. So I am going to say what I feel that Sami Zayn is going to WrestleMania. He's going to have a match at WrestleMania because he's an over guy. They're going to put him in a match.
Yeah.
But it won't be against Gunther.
Mm-mm.
Because Shorty G, Chad Gable's winning this gauntlet match. He has to win this gauntlet match because it's not about the title for him. It's about his family. It's about his daughter. It's personal. So I need to see Chad Gable win this gauntlet match. Let's go, Chad Gable. He has to win this gauntlet match. Sami is going to find his way into WrestleMania. Shinsuke will find a way into WrestleMania. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go at each other again. But I just feel that Chad Gable, this is his. This is his. It was made for him. So let's go, Chad Gable. I'm ready for him. Let's go.
Who's going to open it?
I would have Chad Gable open and run the gauntlet.
That's what I was thinking.
Have him run the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And let Bronson
give him the mic after.
Let Bronson Reed be the I would have Sami Zayn be the last guy.
Okay.
That way you can get the image of Sami Zayn sitting in the corner with a shocked look on his face. The crowd going crazy. Chad Gable stumbling around because he just went through the gauntlet. Dude.
You want to hear something?
What's that?
When you said the corner? Sami Zayn's in the corner lining up a haluva kick. Takes off. Puts the foot up for the kick. Chad dodges, grabs the ankle, puts him in the ankle lock.
Have him tap. And you could easily work that angle by having before that having Shinsuke hurt Sami Zayn's ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow Sami Zayn pins Shinsuke, but Bronson Reed comes out and splashes him on the ankle.
Yep.
Work that ankle angle. And then you stay away from it for a little bit. And all of a sudden, when he's coming for that haluva kick, he's not going that fast. But like you said, Chad Gable ducks, rolls up, grabs the ankle, sits back on it, and he has no choice but to tap. That's a good call, brother. That's a good call. But let's go, Chad Gable. However you do it, as long as you do it. Let's go.
All right. After that, we had another backstage segment with Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell.
Very interesting one.
Vegan, and Maxine and Ivy, all backstage, wanting a rematch against the Kabuki Warriors.
I thought it was good. I like that they're taking what's happened in the house shows with Maxine and they're bringing it out on TV.
Yeah.
When Candice LeRae said, what have you've just because you've had a cup of coffee of matches, 2 or 3 matches, I've been doing this forever. very heelish. It sounds like the Way might be coming back somehow. Um, Having Indy saying, "I'm sorry, I'll go talk to her." That was rude. That was really cool. But the look on Maxine's face, that hurt look, and I was like, don't worry about it. But it looks like they're taking that commotion that was happening in the house shows where people were yelling at her and making fun of her because that she can't wrestle, which I think she's been doing a great job. I like that they're doing this, and I like to see this Candice LeRae. And it's going to be interesting how little by little Candice LeRae is going to be turning Indy. She'll be turning her. So it looks like it could be a full heel turn for Indy and Candice LeRae. It looks like this might be a tag match that we might be seeing next week or the week after on Raw.
Yeah. Following that up, we went straight into another tag match of Imperium versus the Judgment Day. Fueling their feud with Imperium and Gunther. I thought this was a great tag match. Displayed everybody. Even Giovanni got his time to shine here and there. They didn't just have Giovanni get whooped and be the person that Gunther was mad at. Giovanni got some good moments.
Very good match. What'd you like about this, man?
I don't know. One thing I did notice, Finn Balor no longer has the taped hand, so it seems like they're dropping that. He didn't get the injured hand. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this one because it just felt fresh. It didn't feel repetitive. Everybody was doing something. Yeah, it was a nice little match for the card.
I thought it was a great match. There was nothing to add, man. I thought it was a good match. Very good, hard-hitting match between two really good tag teams.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping that they would make an announcement tonight or last night about the tag belts, and they didn't. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, it looks like they might be saving that for SmackDown then.
Yeah.
Oh. But other than that, it was a good match.
Yeah. Following this up, we had Michael Cole doing a little talk about Mr. Paul Heyman getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's the first inductee of the year.
Very well deserved, in my opinion. Very well deserved.
They gave him a nice little promo, showed how long he's been in WWE, how much he's done in the company. I don't know who's going to actually give a speech for him. I'm wondering who you think will be the person to give the speech.
I think it should be Tommy Dreamer.
Okay.
Tommy Dreamer, him and Tommy have a great relationship. Tommy Dreamer was there to the end, believing in Paul Heyman and ECW. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. I would like to see if they're going to mention something, if the Bloodline is going to mention something when they're all in the ring next Friday. I think that'll be really cool if they can acknowledge a new Hall of Famer in the Wise Man, Paul Heyman.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Or at least
so congrats, Paul. Congrats. You in there, baby. What's next?
Next up, we went backstage to see Damage Control is backstage again, talking to each other when Rhea Ripley walked up and told Io to stay out of her territory.
Mommy don't play. Mommy is not playing. You in her yard. As long as it doesn't lead to a unification title, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this no more, man. So keep the titles away from each other. It's a good, nice little segment. A champion of another brand comes on your territory. You stay out my hood. Hey, Io, I ain't got no beef with you if you just stay out my hood. If you come in my neighborhood, then we have some problems. So Big ups, mommy. Mommy Rhea doing her thing. I liked it.
Next up, we had an earlier meet up in the back between Sami Zayn and Ivar, which led
Mm-hmm.
to our next match, which I thought was a really good match as well.
I thought it was a good
Ivar
match.
versus Sami
Ivar's
Zayn.
so underrated, I think.
Oh yeah, honestly, Ivar could have been in that match instead of JD.
There you go. Good call. Good
Put him there.
call. Hey, how'd you feel
Little
about Michael
big
Cole
person,
getting the crown put on him?
the sweaty antler juice on him. I thought that was funny. Pat is killing me on commentary.
Pat's a goat. Pat is a goat on commentary. He's a goat. I love it. I love it. But yeah, I thought it was crazy when she put it on him. And he kept it on, that's for sure.
Yep.
Then we go into the match. The match was a very hard-hitting match. Very good match. And Sammy picks up the win.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that.
Yep.
I liked that Sammy wasn't just getting crushed; he was actually doing things and showing off what he's capable of. And
Yes.
it didn't take a big guy to slow him down. He was able to keep up and
Yep.
pull out the victory.
Very good match. Very good match.
Following that, we had the announcement. Oh no, we had a surprise entrance after Sammy picks up the win. We had Bronson Reed hit him from behind, knock him down, do a tsunami off the top ropes. Just
The
show him.
best, the best top rope splash in the business. Nacho, when he gets on that top rope and his foot is on the second rope and he jumps off and it's like coming to the side like that. Nacho, man, that's the best splash in the business right now.
Not to
I
mention how
will
big he
argue
is.
with anybody.
Incredible. Just giving him a little taste of what's to come next Monday.
That's right. That's right. That's a big boy. He should have been in the Australia card, but oh well.
He
Next.
should have been, but he had a kid. Next up, we had something that maybe fueled a little bit more of some people's reasonings as to who should win the gauntlet match next week. When Gunther shows up backstage, already dressed up in his polo, he already took a shower, he's clean, ready to go home, when he gets stopped by Chad Gable.
Uh-huh.
Chad Gable has some things to say. He tells him why he's going to win. He says that he needs to take that smug grin off his face so he can give it back to his daughter and she can be happy after the things that he said and the fact that he laughed at her when she was crying. The cards are stacking. The cards are aligning. Everything's coming together.
Chad doing it, man. They're telling a great story there. They're telling a great story there, man.
He doesn't even
I
want
hope
the
they
gold.
pull the trigger on it.
Everybody else wants the gold. He doesn't even want the gold. He just wants the win. He just wants the satisfaction.
They gotta go with this. They gotta go with this, man. If they
If they
don't go
don't,
with this, why even have this moment if you're not gonna go with it?
mm-hmm.
They got to. What else?
Next up, we cut to a backstage promo with main event Jay Uso. I thought it was a pretty nice hallway promo. Pulls out his shades that I think he carved yeet into them. I don't think it was written. It looked like it was carved.
Yeet.
This man is on top. Comes out. His music hits. He walks out. The whole entire arena has their hands up, including Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is up on the desk.
On the desk.
Mm-hmm.
On the desk. I love it.
So over. So
I love it.
He comes out to face Drew McIntyre in the main event. The match itself I will say, like, we've seen this a couple times. At
We
this
have.
moment, I was getting a little tired because it was close to 11. The show was ending, but I
Yep.
was still here for it. I was still here for it. Thought it was a decent match. We got to see both of their move sets. I feel like Jay was holding up for the most part. Um, I don't know. Drew did a decent job. Like I said, I feel like I've seen this already maybe twice. Um, until you start to hear the crowd getting a little excited.
Yep. And that man shows up right there.
Yep. You see Solo show up in his vest. He starts climbing over the barrier. Jay's
Uh-huh.
like, "Uh-oh,
Not
interference
so
again."
fast.
All of a sudden, you hear
Not
the
so
American,
fast.
you hear the American Nightmares music kick on. And he comes
That's right.
sprinting, wearing his dog's T-shirt. Not to mention his dog's T-shirt. Don't mention his dog.
Yes. Yep.
And he attacks Solo and takes him out.
Takes care of Solo. Bye.
Yep. It's another super kick. To mention a super kick. And then the crowd. You start hearing the crowd again, and the camera pans over, and who is it? But Jimmy Uso coming out to intervene again.
But not so fast.
Not so fast. At this point, he cost Jay the win. The distraction cost Jay the win, and Drew's out of there. Drew's leaving before all this drama goes down.
Yep.
Yep. But who comes running up after Drew takes the win? The highlighter. He's back. He comes running down with a chair. Or no, he didn't have the chair. He came running down with his belt.
Runs right past Drew McIntyre.
Doesn't even
And
look.
the look on Drew's face, Drew was so disgusted that he just ran right past him. He just got cleared because your knee was hurting, and now you're getting into this bloodline stuff. This has nothing to do with you. You're putting into jeopardy our match, and I keep telling you, I don't want to win because you're distracted by the bloodline. And what does he do? He ran right past Drew. Drew goes ahead, watches him get to the ring, and he takes care of Jimmy. And when he turns around, Drew wasn't he wasn't up the ramp now. He was in the ring. And boy, did he kick his face right off. He made that highlighter turn quick.
Yep.
With a Claymore. Knocked him clear out. I like the way the ending was. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. He was telling him, forget about that. It's me and you.
Yep.
So it's going to be very interesting. I still believe Drew McIntyre walks out of WrestleMania as your new World Heavyweight Champion.
I think so too.
I still think that. Yeah. So that was the Raw recap. Nacho, what do you give Raw on that same scale, 1 to 5? 3 hours of Raw. Here we go.
I give it a 4.
Good. Okay.
3.5.
What do you think?
3.5 and 4.
What'd you say?
Somewhere between 3.5 and a 4. I think it was consistent. It delivered. There were maybe like 2 segments where I was like, eh. Other than that, I was happy the whole time.
I'm with you. I give it about a 4. Reason being is because the women's match kind of took it down. I'm talking about the women's tag match.
Yeah.
The Gunther match was great. The Zoe match was Nia Jax's match was okay. Andrade's match was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you had 2 okay matches there. The Judgment Day Imperium was a great match. Sami Zayn and Ivar was a great match. I give it about a 4.25. I'll give it about a 4 4.25. I thought it was a solid show. There were some moments that kind of brought it down, but I think they were consistent the majority of the night. And even though you said in the main event that you felt like you saw it, they really, really grabbed your attention at the end of the match with all the stuff that was going around with the bloodline. So I thought it was a great show. I thought the crowd in San Antonio was popping. I know that the crowd in Houston is going to be just as loud. So I'm excited for SmackDown in a couple days. Tell me your thoughts.
I am too. I can't wait, especially with this, with Cody and Seth showing up. I'm excited to see what goes down with that. Yeah, I feel like both properties have been delivering recently, especially on the road to WrestleMania. I'm just excited to see what gets set up next, what comes in the future.
Can you see night one at WrestleMania, Cody and Seth Rollins losing because of that man right there interfering?
Yep. I was also I did notice both of the title matches are on night 2. They're both on night 2.
So can you see McIntyre doing something to cost them night one's tag match?
Maybe if he keeps interfering in the bloodline stuff, just out of spite.
Yeah.
He didn't take their match seriously, so why should Drew take that match seriously?
Absolutely. What else we got, Nacho?
Other than that, if you want to run through, I have the slides for the next week's Raw. If you just want to do a quick predictions, then we can close it out.
Sure thing. Let's do it. Let's go through it. So we got the Kabuki Warriors. We already talked about that. We think that the Kabuki Warriors are not going to drop these titles to them, especially even though they got a tag match tonight at Roadblock, NXT Roadblock. But I don't think Shayna Baszler and Zoe are ready to put them. I don't think they're tag champs ready yet. So I'll stick with the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, I think maybe this also sets up that like maybe a 4-way tag match, and whoever wins gets to fight the Kabuki Warriors. Maybe throw Shayna and Zoe in with the other 3 teams that are backstage. Have something like that leading to WrestleMania. Give them that.
Absolutely.
Next up, we got Becky versus Liv.
Who do you got?
I don't know, because both of these people have interfered with the last 2 matches.
Yep.
The other person
I'm going to go on a Liv, and I'm going to say Liv steals a victory. I think Becky's going to get distracted somehow. They'll do something and have Liv take that match. It'll give her an argument why she should be going and fighting for the title. So, but remember, Becky still has the ace where she won the chamber. She won the chamber. But I think it'll be an interesting factor if you have Liv go over on this match.
Yep. Maybe Nia gets involved too.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we have the match that we had mentioned before, the gauntlet, 6-man gauntlet match.
So this is probably going to be the main event of the night, obviously.
You think so?
I either you start the show with this or you end the show with this.
Yeah.
You got to end the show with this. And I think we already discussed it. I think Chad Gable takes it. Man, I really can't wait to see this match.
Now that I said that about Ivar, I really hope that it just makes more sense if Chad is going to put all these people over the pin all these people. Putting people in from his past makes more sense. And most of these people have had something with Chad, except for Ricochet. Maybe Ricochet at the tag match last year in WrestleMania had stuff, but JD has not had anything to do with them, I don't think. And I feel like maybe Ivar injures one of them backstage and takes the spot, because it just makes more sense to have that with how much they've been feuding with the Viking Warriors. They're going to put Chad over, give him all of his opponents.
Well, one of the ways you could take JD out of the equation is if Gunther puts his hands on him.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this turns out. We'll see how if they do restructure anything, but if it stays like this, or even if it changes, My mindset doesn't change. I think Chad Gable takes this match. I think he becomes your number one contender going into WrestleMania. Night number one. It'll be a night number one.
Yep.
And have him win that title against Gunther. You got any last words, Nacho?
I will say, if we're gonna move into our closing, I will say we do have a Twitter page, an X page set up.
Tell them about it.
I've been live tweeting. I put up some stuff during Raw. I put up full live tweets during the AEW pay-per-view. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to be reposting news as it comes out. If we have any delays in our show, or if we have to switch a day, I'll be putting it up on there. I'm going to be working on an Instagram soon, so we can put up pictures and other news stuff on there as well. But yeah, check out those. Follow them. I'm going to have them linked in the description and also on our page, so you can find them easily. But other than that, I don't think we got anything else for tonight.
What's our X name?
The X name, the name should just be the Curtain Call Podcast, but the actual handle is capital CCP OD official. That's CC Pod official.
Nice. So everybody make sure you go in there, drop a follow, retweet things. We'll definitely be putting some news out there. Every time there's a developing news, we want to be out there and putting the information out there for you guys. We appreciate everyone that's supporting, everyone that's been watching, everybody that's been taking the time to leave comments and everything. It's going to get there. We know that this is going, and we are having fun in the process of doing it. Until there's a bunch of views and bunch of followers, our mindset, our attitude will not change. We enjoy what we're doing. We enjoy what we do, and we enjoy bringing this show to you guys, the Curtain Call Podcast. So we thank you all again. Remember, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you could be able to get all the updates that we're going on. All of our social medias will be linked to this, where you can follow us. Like he said, on the X. Soon it'll be Instagram. We have our Facebook page that we're going to be posting as well. But we appreciate all you guys' help. Nacho, it was fun doing this show with you, man. Obviously, we got some NXT to watch tonight, and then we are coming back. And Nacho, man, I'm ready. I'm ready for SmackDown, and I can't wait to talk to you and the audience about what happens on SmackDown. So remember, the next show is going to be the review of Roadblock, but also the review of SmackDown. And boy, get ready, because if we usually talk for 2 hours, I'm sure we're going to be really going at it for the review on SmackDown. Nacho, any last words?
I just hope everybody enjoys the wrestling shows, and I hope they look forward to our reviews.
Here we go. So you know how we do here at the Curtain Call Podcast. I'm your boy, the Spanish Fly. That's my tag team partner, Nacho. And you know, here at the Curtain Call Podcast, when we sign off, we do it like this all the time. If you got it, throw it up for me too, sweet me, baby. And remember, here at the Curtain Call Podcast, we always kick out at 2. Talk to y'all later. See ya.